and I'm so happy to be in this beautiful space at the Consulate of Argentina. And I want to ask, the first thing is, what was the first thing that made you think, I want to be a dancer? How was for you, Luciana, that the first thing that you think, okay, I would like to be a dancer?
I think as a child I was very active, a little too much. So I tried many different things in my childhood. I swam, I skated, I did gymnastics, tennis, basketball, and I didn't really like any of those. And then one day I went to my first ballet class, and I could say it was the music that completed that activity, that physical activity that I was doing. To have the music on the side was what really got to me, that I was able to move through the music. And of course I wasn't conscious about this when I was little, but of course now I see it, that it might have been that.
Great. How was for you?
Funny enough, it's kind of similar story. My parents took me to different things in a club, to do kung fu, swimming also, and from all those things I chose to do ice skating, very unusual in Argentina. And I think just because I felt the need of moving my body in a way, and my sister at the time was doing already ballet in a small school, so every day I would go with my mom to pick up my sister, and when I would see her in the studio with the piano and the music, same thing as Luciana said, the music just drew me into the studio. So when I was 8 years old, I decided to start ballet.
Beautiful.
Also to be with my sister, which is, it's always like a nice support.
Of course. And how did you first meet? Both of you? What's the first time? You remember something?
We were
special?
9, 10 years old,
Oh
9 years
my
old.
God.
Yeah. We auditioned for the school at the Teatro Colón, one of the best schools in South America, and we got in when we were 8, 9 years old.
Wow. So Argentina has a history of high culture. Amazing writers, Borges, Cortázar, and musicians, Piazzolla, and Serrati, Santaella, and dancers, Boca, Copes, Verón. Why do you think is that? It's a tough question about this.
A little bit.
It is tough. We have a very European culture in Argentina, and when Teatro Colón was built, it was kind of like the center of every star came to Argentina to perform there. So I think having all these stars in our country made the country understand what ballet is, what opera is, and we have one of the best schools for young kids.
Being an Argentine, how does tango influence your dance?
Oh, very much.
How?
She's a great tango dancer.
I think when I first moved to New York, it was hard for me. I felt very detached from my family, and I happened to have friends that were involved in tango, and I will go just to listen to the music again, and somehow that made me feel closer. And then I got closer to tango dancing, and what happened to me is that a lot of the tango things that I've learned, like the relaxation of it, and the being able to follow the leader and execute the steps in the music, and it's such a different training, but at the same time, I had experiences with different choreographers that I could use a lot of the tango that I've learned, and it's quite interesting to find that, and very fulfilling to understand that something else that you learn on the
it darle palo a la vida? Algo así? Something like that they talk about?
It's something like that, but I think it's also this pride that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel attached to that.
I don't either.
I left Argentina when I was 16 years old to follow my dream. I couldn't execute my dream in Argentina, and I wanted to be in American Ballet Theater, and I love New York. So for me, that Argentinian side, I see it in a different way. I see that it's so much opportunity, and it's an amazing country, but they just always try. Maybe because of the tango music also follows that sadness, and that everything's hard. And it's not. It's beautiful.
Who inspired you?
Sorry?
Who inspired you?
To be a ballet dancer? Different artists. I think Alessandra Ferri, when I was a kid, was very important. There's something about artistry that I enjoy a lot in dancers. Of course, I appreciate all the technical stuff, but when it's not combined, to me, it's really empty. So I will say she was always my main inspiration. Yes.
How about you?
When I was little, about 10 years old, my parents gave me a video of Vladimir Vasiliev doing Spartacus, and since that moment, Vasiliev became my idol, just because his interpretation, his chemistry, his technique, everything was, especially for the time. I mean, he could be alive now, performing would be one of the best today. So Vasiliev, he was definitely my inspiration. And when I went for the first time to the theater to see Spartacus, Maximiliano Guerra was dancing the role, and from that moment I said, I want to be a ballet dancer.
Oh, that's amazing. So, what influence for you was Julio Boca? I know you were his partner, you were 15 years old, you were very, very young.
I was very lucky also. Julio showed me everything that I needed to know to keep going later on, of course. And it was great that it was in his arms that I started. He gave me one of the things that I treasure the most about starting with him is the freedom he gave me. He gave me a lot of freedom on stage, of just being myself. And there was something very unique and in the moment. It didn't matter what happened. It didn't matter if a step didn't work perfectly, or if the music was different. There was always something that could be done to fix it, and that, to start dancing like that, with that freedom, then it molds you for the future like nothing else, I believe, and I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
I had the opportunity to see him. I saw him in 1990 at the Consulate in Colombia. And that was amazing. So I always remember. And I guess some part of that it's I don't know if it's the way I see it, is just like this big influence from Boca, permit that you can also interpret as many roles. Is that that's what it is? Because it's like I see you both in different roles, and amazing. You can be a very innocent role, or you can be so dramatic. You both have this, richness in movement to interpret the different roles. So is that also for you too?
Well, Julio Boca definitely opened so many doors for so many dancers in different ways.
key of the
Here's
open
the
doors.
key. It's what I call the trampoline for my professional career.
I'm very curious about how do you prepare for a day performance? How you start your day and how it's kind of a ritual, isn't it?
I don't really prepare very much.
Yeah, I don't want to prepare. I take it as a normal day.
All day.
You wake up for a rehearsal, you take your breakfast, you go to class, you train, you do your rehearsal. Same thing for a show. I wake up, my breakfast. Of course, there's something different there because the theater is gonna be full of people watching you, but we train for that. We want to be on stage.
Beautiful. And how it's just very interesting also to know how you prepare to be in a specific role. What kind of things you can use to get into the role? Like something special about it? Something
I think for me, the music again. The music. I always try to get very connected to the music because usually those kind of drastic roles have intense. Like it comes from the music, and I don't know. I just maybe try. I don't think about it.
you just feel it.
Try to feel.
Yeah.
And I don't think I prepare that much either for a different role.
But I think to be able to interpret that well the role, you need to be very strong technically. Like your body has to be 100% even more trained to do all the technical steps, so you don't think about the steps and you only focus on the role and the movement, what is coming in the story. I think you can see dancers struggle in the story when they're not technically strong. So the attention takes you to a different place. And for us is that training every morning our body so we can be free in our interpretation.
So what do you do in your free time?
Dance. I like reading also.
Yeah.
I read movies. Yeah.
What about you?
I paint.
Oh.
Yes, I like drawing, I like painting and creating new projects all the time.
I didn't know you could. What is the difference dancing in New York City compared to Argentina?
I guess the difference for me will be that my family is there and they haven't seen me all these years. But when I dance, I dance. It doesn't matter where I am. It's important, and it's for me and for the audience and for my partner. Or of course, there are different theaters that have more weight. This doesn't mean it has to be the Garnier of the Metropolitan Opera. When we went to Cuba, it's not a theater like that, but it has so much weight that dancing in those theaters has a different way. But dancing is always so special.
Dancing at home is very emotional. It's because it's the audience, it's the people that saw you when you were little, so you're growing, and the first steps that audience saw. And here, it's my family in a way. They see me all year round for 16 years. So we have our audience that always wait for you backstage for autograph, and they know you. It's been a lifetime performing for them. But every time I go to Argentina, it's specific shows, and you see the warmth of your friends, your family. So it's very emotional when I go to Argentina.
How's been changed American Ballet Company since you started and now until the present?
I think it's much younger right now.
It's a very young company right now. When we joined the company, all the big stars were there, like Alexander, Julio, Malaco, farthest you can go. And there's so much you can do along the way. It doesn't matter if you change your mind or you're doing something